Hello! Welcome to 3 and 4 star bases. Today we're going to be looking at the Folka Banner and seeing what units will be coming out with that at the end of the week. So let's jump right in and see who we've got. First up, we have Yubel. Yubel is an awesome hooded chocobo rider riding that awesome black chocobo. So cool. Yubel's kit has Mirage in their kit, which means that they can use a skill which will allow them to dodge 2 physical attacks, and that'll be active for the next 3 turns. There's a wide variety of equipable weapons for Yubel, so almost anything you want to be able to equip. As for armors, it can be equipped with small shields, hats, clothes, and light armor. Yubel has a single target attack, which does an imperil for dark and ice resist for 50%. So if you're dealing dark or ice damage, you can deal more damage with your dark and ice moves by 50% against the enemy now. So that's a 50% dark and ice imperil. There's a provoke skill with plus 70%. So plus 70% draw attacks, which is fantastic. You don't have to use Golem. You could just throw that and a Moogle plushie on and be done with your day. Yubel is an onion slice chainer, but it is a single target. So if you're trying to chain with anyone in the Onion Knight family, Yubel can activate that chain, and it does decent dark and ice damage. And whenever you do the ice move, it gives you a 70% buff for your entire team for light resistance. And likewise, when you do the ice move, it gives you a 70% buff for your entire team for fire, and that'll last 3 turns. Yubel has bonuses to their attack for equipping throwing weapons, and also plant killer plus 50%. Yubel hates plants. Innate confuse resistance in their kit, it's pretty decent, and passive MP recovery, so just gaining MP at the end of every turn. 20% physical dodge innate in their kit, so 20% of the time they're just going to dodge a physical, just it's not going to hit them. You don't have to put any gear on them for that. And there's a passive limit burst fill rate increase. So what that means is every time a limit burst crystal goes whoosh and goes to them, instead of counting for 1, it's going to count for 2, etc. The Yubel's limit burst is an AoE 3-hit 600% physical attack, and it debuffs or breaks the enemy for 45%. So they will hit a lot less hard, and that lasts 3 turns. If you boost the limit burst up, it's of course just going to do more damage, and it'll be a higher spirit break for the enemy, going up to 69% spirit break. Yubel's trust mastery would be Sable Winds of Harvest. That is an ability which gives plus 40% attack and plus 50% more damage to plants, physical. That is incredible. If you're going against, say, Antonella or Marlborough, you equip this on, boom, you are killing that thing dead, because the physical damage to plants is calculated separately from the plus 40% attack. So it's just amazing to have a plant killer on something that already gives attack. So Yubel, in short, Yubel, fantastic trust mastery, dodge, can buff your team for fire and ice, and can debuff the enemy for dark and ice. I'm sorry. Can debuff the enemy for dark and ice, and can buff your team for fire and light. Alright, so let's move on to the next unit. Kihana! Wow! So Kihana is doing something, setting records for us on Global. Let's get to what record she's setting, but I have to explain her kit first. So she is a dancer, similar to bards, but she is not locked for turns. So she has to use one ability to unlock the next one. So turn 1 she uses this, turn 2 she uses this skill, and it just keeps unlocking the next one. So you only see the one skill turn 1, and then when you use it, you can see the next one turn 2. When you use the turn 2 skill, it unlocks the turn 3 skill. When you use the turn 3 skill, it unlocks the turn 4 skill. When you use the turn 4, it unlocks the turn 5. Okay? So, what that unlock skill does that she has, it does a general mitigation for herself. That's all the unlock skill does. So it just does general damage mitigation for 20%, 30%, 40%, and then 50% on turn 4. So whenever she uses on turn 4, 50% of the general damage that is coming into her being completely negated. She has immunity to paralyze and petrify. So 2 of the hardest hitting status ailments. She has wind and earth resistance for 30%. So if you're going against any enemy, which would be doing, say, AoE magical for wind and earth, she's already got you covered on that. She has bonuses to magic and MP when she is equipped with rods. So you're really probably going to want to equip her with a rod, most likely. Although there are some indications where you wouldn't, you know. She can equip daggers, staffs, rods, bows, whips, and throwing weapons. So a wide variety of support-type weapons can be equipped to her. She can equip hats, clothes, and robes. Now, let's get to those unlocked abilities. So whenever she does that turn 1 ability, she unlocks the turn 2 damage mitigation skill, or you can use a buff or a break. So it really unlocks 3 skills every time she does one of those. So turn 1, use the 20% damage unlock skill. And now turn 2, you have the option of continuing up the ladder, or using a 60% AoE buff for your entire team, or a 30% all break for the opponent. So at any point you can choose to stop climbing the ladder and just do either a buff for your team or a break for the opponent. And that would be a climbing up the ladder of AoE buffs is 60, 80, 120%. And then climbing up the ladder for breaks is 30, 40, 50%. And then once you unlock that turn 5, you get the ultimate skill, which breaks the enemy for 60% attack, magic, defense, and spirit, and buffs your team for a new global record of 200%. So there is one unit that can do a 200% buff currently on global, but that unit is on a 50% chance. So it's highly unlikely that you're going to get it off when you actually need it. But this, as long as you're patient, get it up to turn 5, you're going to have a 200% buff for your entire team. So if you're really going for min-maxing on damage, she can provide that unbeatable, uncontestable 200% buff for your entire team. So Kihana, breaking the mold. Alright, so let's get on to her limit burst. Her limit burst is magic damage every turn for 3 turns, so it's kind of like a poison effect. So the enemy just takes damage at the beginning of their turn. And it also, if they're not immune to it, it applies a poison and disease effect. So, kind of a useful limit burst, but you probably won't be using it. Her Trust Mastery is Kihana's Necklace, an accessory for plus 45% spirit. So, right in the accessory slot, boom! 45% flat spirit. Not a percentage, just a flat spirit stat. So, yeah, that's pretty decent. And that is Kihana. Setting new records, plus 200% attack, magic, defense, and spirit. What more do you need? Alright, let's keep going and look at the last unit on this banner. So we're wrapping up this banner with Ichor. Ichor actually comes from a term that is kind of like the blood of the gods. In Greek mythology, the blood of the gods was Ichor. So kind of a setting a high bar there for this unit's name. So Ichor has in their kit, they can only equip maces and knuckles for their weapon slot. Very limited. And can only equip hats and clothes for their armor slot. So it pretty much just says you have to equip hats and clothes, and then for the weapon, just maces and knuckles. And Ichor, even looking sort of like a monk there, does not get any bonuses for being unhanded without weapon. Capable of doing a 85% water imperil, which is really high for a water imperil. It's not like setting records or anything, but that is a very high water imperil. If you use Aqua Fist on the previous turn. So use Aqua Fist as the skill, and then it unlocks a new skill, which allows you to do more damage with water moves by 85%. Ichor also has a 30% all break, so you can use single target break for 30% on all stats for an enemy. So pretty decent if you're not running any breaker at all. At all. Ichor is capable of sloppy chaining with many partners. Like, you can kind of get Ichor to chain with certain skills with a lot of different characters, but can really only perfect chain with himself. He's best attacking when equipped with a fist, so if you really want to get the highest attack on an Ichor, that would be, you'd be equipping fist, probably his own Trust Mastery, or whatever the highest attack powered fist you might have. Natural water resistance of 30%, so if you're fighting something that's doing AoE water, say like a 2-star Leviathan or something like that, that natural water resist of 30%, fantastic. Limit burst of this unit is physical attack water AoE. Now, it is a chaining move, but it can really only chain with a clone. So if you want to chain Ichor's Limit Burst, gotta bring in those clones. But it does do physical attack AoE water, if that's something you're looking for in a Limit Burst. Ichor's Trust Mastery would be Splash Knuckle, which is amazing, definitely worth looking at. It is a 125 attack and with Water Elemental, so this is a Water Elemental Trust Mastery. So that's amazing. So let's take a look at what he's got. He's got a Water Elemental Fist Trust Mastery, and he can do 85% Water Imperil if you unlock it. He's capable of sloppy chaining, and that's about what he's got. So if you're pulling an Ichor, there's probably other 3 to 5 star bases you could use that are better. But he can have his uses. So, in short, Yubel is an Onion Knight chaining partner which can boost your own party's resistance to light and fire. Also has a fantastic Trust Mastery for attack boost and plant killer. Amazing. Ichor has a fantastic Trust Mastery. If you like your monk units with fists, I suggest really farming out that Water Elemental Trust Mastery. And Kihana. Kihana has a fantastic accessory for Spirit, and also can buff your units by 200% AoE if you unlock it. Set new records with that buff. So that's the highlights of these units. I look forward to the next banner with 3 and 4 star bases. See you all later, and I hope you enjoyed the video.